Welcome to the Dreads Podcast. This is where the truth prevails and all the facts are the important details. Believe it, receive it, and you don't necessarily have to agree with it. But it is the gospel, according to yours truly, Dreads. I am Thurman Richardson. I have over 30 years of law enforcement experience. Come along with me and let's dive into today's episode. Look, welcome to today's episode, and I call this episode A Son's Betrayal. The reason why I call it A Son's Betrayal because unfortunately a man died at the wrath or at the hands of his own son. Basically in December of 2019, I received a call, and I received a call at 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, most individuals at 3 o'clock in the morning, we know what we're doing. We are absolutely knocked out. We're asleep. I'm in that first, second realm of sleep. I'm sleeping good. And I get that call waking out of my sleep, and I know what it is. I hate to hear that ring at that time in the morning because I know it's time to go to work. Well, sure enough, my lieutenant called me and stated, hey, we got one. That's the phrase that you normally hear. When they say we got one, I mean we got another homicide. At that time, I was assigned to the homicide unit, had been there probably about a year. And as I'm getting ready, I'm trying to get my mind right, trying to wake up, get my bearings right, get my equilibrium right. Because I'm going to a scene and I have to give the victim's family the best service that I possibly can give them. So that means I have to be operating on all cylinders. So as I'm getting prepared, putting on my clothes, putting on my uniform, making sure that I have my notepads, I'm getting my mind right, getting on to the area of Shelby Drive and Chulahoma. We affectionately call that particular part of the city the subs. Well, I arrived to the scene about 10 minutes till 4 o'clock in the morning, and it is chaotic. You see the blue lights going everywhere. You got the crime scene tape. You got family members that are crying uncontrollably, and then unfortunately we're met immediately with lies. So the best thing that I have to do is I have to get to the scene officer who's taking the report, get that information from him as soon as I possibly can. And the rundown he gave me basically is that they responded to an accidental shooting call. And nobody is really a witness to this thing. People don't know who shot the victim, and that's Mr. Crutcher. And so we were just kind of stuck there. And I'm like, so nobody saw anything, but all of these individuals are here. The stories just were not lining up. When I talked to his wife, now you have to remember, Mr. Crutcher, the victim, he's in his 60s, I believe, and he's not. It's late at night, like 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I think the incident occurred at 1:54 a.m. So he's not out partying or anything like that. He's a real settled individual. He had been working for the city for in excess of 30 years at the time. So he doesn't strike me as an individual who's in the midst of doing any kind of nefarious behavior. So as I'm talking to his wife, who was at the home at the time, she stated that she don't know nothing, she didn't see nothing. She was in the back room. Talked to the son, and the son didn't even want to talk to us. I get it. He's in the daze. Father just got murdered, was shot, died right in front of him. And the other son said that he wasn't even on the scene, and he got the call saying that his father had gotten shot, and he arrived just moments prior to the officers making the scene there. So I'm like, so nobody saw nothing. You could tell. You've been doing this as long as I have. You can tell when people are lying to you. So we had to get down to the nitty gritty. Basically, the things that don't lie to us are two things most of the time. It's the crime scene, as long as it hadn't been altered, and those 911 calls. They will have a lot of great information for me. So out of anger or a last resort, I called the dispatcher and said, hey, look, normally we have to go through these channels in order to expedite getting these 911 calls, but do you mind go ahead, recording it, sending that to me so I can listen to anything that's going to give me some direction. Well, mind you, remember, the wife of the victim says she was in the back room. She didn't see nothing, and she didn't know anything. Well, I tell you what, we could take a listen to what the 911 revealed when I got it from the dispatcher, and it was a telltale recording. Take a listen.
For the fire department, don't hang up.
Yeah, go on. It's Aaron? I believe he did.
Is this the emergency?
Yes.
What's your address?
Huh. Damn. Yo, go. Just leave her there.
Hello? Hello?
I'm calling him. He might be dead now.
What's your address, ma'am? Okay, what's this way run off of?
Chevron and Tulane.
Okay, is this a house or apartment?
Look, y'all, get away from my house. Just leave. Don't ever come back around here. As long as I live. You should have never happened.
Ma'am, what's your telephone number?
365-9561.
Tell me exactly what happened.
I don't even know. He had a gun. I don't know. And some kind of way he was talking about it.
Has someone been shot, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
How old is he?
He's 60-something years old. Can you just send the ambulance? Now I want to...
Is he awake?
As you can hear, it was chaotic. People hollering, loud talking at the dispatcher. Couldn't get things out. It was just too many things that was going on. But one thing for certain, two things for sure. The wife of the victim, she was not only in the room, she observed what went down, and she lied to us. These things hinder the progress of an investigation. Why lie? Because you're covering for who actually pulled the trigger. The unfortunate thing is that this investigation would reveal who actually pulled the trigger. And she was in a tight spot. I understand. You just lost your husband, and the person who pulled the trigger was your son. The same son who said that he wasn't even on the scene when we got there. He got a call and stated that there had been an accident and his father was struck by gunfire. When all the time he lied to us as well. So I told him, I said, look here. Got all my officers together. I told them to put each one of them in the car, bring them down to our headquarters so that we can get statements from them. Now they didn't know I was armed with this 911 call. So the first person I talked to was the wife of the victim. And before I said anything to her, I said, you know, I know what you told me on the scene. And it frustrates me. 3 o'clock in the morning, getting out of my bed, and here I am trying to fight for this victim, trying to fight for you all, because I don't know who is responsible for killing your husband. But I'm met with lies, and I knew that I was. I said, so do me a favor, listen up, be quiet, and let me hit play. I hit play on that recorder and allowed her to hear herself say what she said. You all heard it? She said, boy, you done accidentally killed your dad or shot your dad. I couldn't get that when I first asked her a question about what happened. She lied and said she wasn't even in the room. These things hinder the progress of an investigation, and it makes us, it frustrates us, but this is what we deal with. So eventually I got to the son, and his name is Damien Crutcher. And he was combative, cursing, wanted to engage in a physical confrontation with me. And if anybody knows me, I try my best to give people a little leeway. I understand. Trust me, I understand. Been doing this thing for quite some time. but I had to kind of let him cool off. Both of us had to cool off. So he subsequently knocked on our door when I went to his interview room and re-engaged him. He wanted to talk, and he laid it on out. He laid it out by saying that, hey, his dad reached for his gun. Well, my thing is, why were you there at 3 o'clock in the morning? And what events led up to that? You have a lot of people who are hotheads, had tempers, and from what I understand, he was possibly, allegedly selling drugs right there in front of his father's house, and he was running in and out of the house with the weapon on, which his dad despised the weapons. And you heard him on the 911 tape, if you listen closely, that he stated to cover himself, his dad was reaching for the gun. Whether he was reaching for the gun, there could have been several different things that could have avoided the unfortunate demise of a great man who worked 30 years for the city of Memphis and worked his way up to be a supervisor, for him to lose his life in such a way just shortly after Christmas in 2019. But see, these are some of the things that we have to deal with. These are some of the trials and tribulations that we shouldn't have to deal with, but we have to. Crime scenes don't lie. The 911 tapes, people sometimes will slow down at that moment when the dispatcher asks them some triggering question, such as, what happened? They were like, I can't tell them exactly what happened because now I may incriminate myself or incriminate someone who I love. But the actual physical crime scene, shell casings, blood spatter, your defects that go in the body so that you can identify what an entrance wound would look like, what an exit wound would look like. These things are telltale signs, and it will definitely paint a picture. It can tell you the direction, the travel of the weapon, if it was at close range, a ways off. These things don't lie, and we can deal with that. It's the human aspect that gets involved and consistently and constantly lies to us and makes our job that much more difficult. We're human just like anybody else. We don't carry a crystal ball in our back pocket and rub on it, and the crystal ball will tell us exactly what happened. If that's the case, we will 100% solve every crime that happens in this world. But we're not blessed with that. So we're leaning and depending on the crime scene. We're leaning and depending on those witnesses who will give us a true and factual account of what happened, so that we can bring some sort of resolve, some sort of closure to every case in a successful way, and get the right person who actually is responsible for this particular crime. So just wanted to kind of highlight this case to give you a tidbit of what we have to deal with. There's a couple of takeaways from this, several takeaways. And it's not necessarily dealing with the nature of the crime itself. It led up to, it was precipitating factors. And one of those things is that when you are a grown adult, get your own house. And if you want to do anything that's nefarious, if you want to do anything that's uncharacteristic, anything that's not acceptable to your parents or friends for that particular matter, do it at your own house. Don't do it at your mom and dad's house. Don't be disrespectful to their home. 2, cooler heads will always prevail. Take a deep breath whenever you have a confrontation, because it's easier to walk away. Oftentimes we allow our emotions and our egos and our pride to lead us down that rabbit hole that we can never come back out of. And if we do get a chance to come back out of, sometimes it's at the end of a 15, 25, 51 year sentence. And we don't have to go through that. Make the right decisions. Calm down and reassert and readdress the situation to where it's at. You may not get everything that you want when you resolve it, but at least you can recover. Lying to the police, lying to the investigation, that's actually a crime. It's called false reporting. It's actually, I think it's a class E felony. Nevertheless, when you lie to an investigator, to a police officer during an investigation, it doesn't make matters better for the investigation, and make matters worse. So you have to take that into consideration, and then people will have the nerve, have the audacity and unmitigated gall to say, well, the police did a sloppy investigation. Do tell. Well, it becomes sloppy because we get sloppy information. We get wrongful, intended information to steer us in an entirely different direction that slows down the process. And then we have to waste time in order to go down that rabbit hole to see whether or not there is going to be anything that will be useful as we go forward. And then once we hit a brick wall, we got to come right back down that path and go in another different direction. So instead of chasing our tails, help us help you all out. Give us the right information. And whether or not it's going to be advantageous for you or the person who you love, at least we'll have the truth and we can deal with that as the investigation goes on. Again, oftentimes I tell you I'm like a good Baptist preacher. I'm not going to be before you long, and I'm not today. But I just wanted to highlight this particular case and let you all know that these are some of the takeaways, these are some of the hills, these are some of the pitfalls that we have. And I hope that you enjoyed this short episode and hope that you take something away from it that you can not only institute in your walk of life if you unfortunately are faced as being a witness of a crime, or you can share this information with someone who's faced with this crime. Or even better yet, why don't you click like, share, and subscribe to all of the platforms dealing with the Dreads Podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode on the Dreads Podcast. If you do, please continue to stay tuned. Click, like, and share. Be blessed.